I'm from Hong Kong, so there's me deciding to come to the United States.
On the eve of the application deadline, I got this crazy idea to study abroad.
Just kind of be mentally prepped for what you might encounter and what you even still might not expect.
As a peer advisor in the study abroad office, I work with international students coming in and domestic students going abroad.
So our place of work and where we found home was the Magosi Orphanage Home in kind of the outskirts of Kisumu.
Getting a gust of fresh air out of the window on a crowded bus.
Waking up early to see the sunrise over the desert. Laughing with the man who shaved our heads.
Climbing a mountain to have lunch with the villagers.
Eating new food with our hands and squatting to pee.
Dancing around a fire to celebrate the harvest.
Living in Kenya, we expected that there would be challenges. We knew that we wouldn't have access to some basic resources that we have in the U.S., such as running water, clean water, reliable transportation, and trash disposal.
At first, we all thought India lacked order. It was all chaos. After some time, however, we realized that priorities were just in a different place. A quick conversation with a neighbor holds much more importance than the first few minutes of a meeting. Electricity in the United States.
Oh my god, I can't believe we lost the internet for a whole hour today.
That was awful. I couldn't go on Facebook. I had to post an assignment on Angel and I couldn't.
Oh, it's terrible.
And in India.
I can't believe we had the internet for a whole hour today.
I know. I sent so many emails.
We had 12 people from the very far corners of MSU's academic landscape. And I learned things I didn't even know I was learning at the time. So what was coded as SSC, ESA, ISS were really these transformative lessons of interdisciplinary learning.
It wasn't as awkward as you might think. It was a mutual understanding that we were both putting in the effort to work around the language barrier.
It was really great actually living in the community rather than traveling as a volunteer and being viewed as what they called a Mzungu. We were Mzungus, which means white foreigner.
It was crazy for me to see that in just 2 weeks. I went from barely being able to interact with a group of people in England to being able to carry on a conversation with employees whose primary language was German.
It involved critical thinking and, completely inclusive learning.
A lot of things sometimes got lost in translation because of language barriers and miscommunication.
Well, maybe things are more interconnected than disciplinary studies allow us to explore.
Coming to America actually adds another dimension to my experience of how I see myself as a Hong Kong person. How you relate yourself with ideas, how you think about your own culture, how you think about other cultures and other countries. It's not that distant and it's not that demarcated as you might thought. There's just a lot of gray area, and hey, gray area is pretty awesome.
We didn't wake up one day on our journeys and say, aha, I fully understand what's going on in this country and in my own country.
These realizations were gradual and complex and are still somewhat amorphous.
Since I've been back at MSU, I've been able to take these skills I learned this past summer and apply them at career fairs and other networking events.
That brings me back to East Lansing. And it's cliche to say India changed everything. So I'll just say the growth that I experienced in India has kind of been the framework for everything else I've done since.
There are some things that you just don't realize until you experience them from another perspective. All of us were pushed out of our comfort zone when we went to a place where things are taken for granted, such as water, internet, and electricity, that were unreliable.
I think the hardest thing for me was that since I learned and changed so much over there, coming back and realizing that everyone else didn't have that experience and didn't change with me, that was really hard.
This is the end of my presentation, but it's just the beginning of more questions. When you interact with people, a different framework of approaching people and also a different framework of asking questions and digging more into this journey of learning about each other and cultures.
The most important thing I can do is study abroad. Not knowing what my next step is when I get out of here in May, is that I can introduce myself with an interdisciplinary skill set in my back pocket, and I think that being able to say that I'm a critical thinker, I'm holistic, I'm confident and well-rounded, is really the best benefit of my study abroad experience.